they partner students at the university with non-profit organizations in the tri-state area. So they're like, let's give this girl a test run. Let's, send her out there to, interview these non-profit child. I was doing interviews at the Bird Sanctuary, the hospital, the baseball, everything. But I love it, right? Because I was,
the Bird Sanctuary.
Literally. And I would post what I was doing on social media. People, that's why I encourage you to use social media for both your personal and professional life. Like if you're using it for one, then you're doing it wrong. They can coexist. And I don't believe in that private account stuff. Because if you got to make your account private, that means that you posting something you're not supposed to be posting. Because if I really want to get you, I can just screenshot it. So, that's what it is. And long story short, through sharing my journey on social media, I was posting, I was at the Bird Sanctuary, which is true. Bird poop over there, I'm here like, within 3 months, I got a call from BET. So like, wait, the same people that told me that y'all don't have a job for me no more, they're like, we have this new show coming out, and we would like you to do the social and, be the lead on that. And so that was just a reminder for me that you have to keep going even though people tell you no, but that you also have to create your own personal brand. You don't want to be known, for me personally, I don't want to just be known for that girl that works at BET. I always tell people, be known for the work that you do, not the company that you work for. So that when you leave that company, those jobs will follow you, those clients will follow you, and you will continue to get opportunities whether or not you are employed at that job. I lost my job. No one knew the wiser because I was still getting called for public speaking engagements. I was still getting called for branding stuff because I showcase and market myself outside of my workplace. I know my value. And for me, one thing that I didn't do when I got my first job was negotiate. Because I'm like, Lord, I'm just happy to be here. I just want to greet everybody. I'm so happy to be here. And I didn't negotiate. I didn't ask. They gave me a rate, and I'm just like, cool. So the more that you invest in yourself, you take those classes, you go off campus. That's one of the things I wish that I did when I was on campus. I was very involved. I was an RA, resident assistant, for 3 out of the 4 years. I studied abroad in China. I did all these things, but I didn't, I went to school in Long Island at Adelphi University in Garden City. So it's like a train ride away from the city, but I never went to the city for educational or career building opportunities. When it's right there. So I limited myself to the campus. But if you can, you got Eventbrite, you search things in your field, and you just get it going. One organization that I encourage you guys to subscribe to or check out is Her Agenda. So basically it's the organization for millennial women. Yeah, heragenda.com. It's the organization for millennial women.
Cards over here.
Yeah, hook them up. She's like, these are your tools for success. And basically Her Agenda, they provide you with, their goal is to close the gap between you setting goals and reaching them in whatever stage of your career. So they provide articles, but they also have amazing events that is nationwide. So you don't gotta be in New York or LA. It could be wherever you at. But what I love about those events is that, I know I'm talking mad long, I'm sorry, I'm excited. What I love about those events is that, you can be waiting to meet your dream person. Say you're waiting to meet Jay-Z or Kendrick Lamar, you just want to give them your mixtape. But the chances of you actually finding them and meeting up with them for passing your mixtape is pretty slim. And then say that does happen, what's the likelihood of them actually listening to it? So at this event, they have people of that caliber come and talk on panels, and they're open to hearing questions from you and possibly taking your resume. You can have that one-on-one conversation in an environment where they're ready to listen, and they're ready to learn, and they're ready to pour into you. All right, that's it for now.
So that's awesome. I definitely hope that you ladies are able to get some good takeaways from everything that's happened and everything that was said. One thing that I wanted to kind of address, and maybe Vanessa, you can kind of piggyback or expound on what I'm about to say, is when you get to college and you're there and it's just you still have your life at home, dealing with friends who you've been friends with, and they're not reaching out anymore because they don't feel like they're as connected to you or they're as close to you, or even if something happens at home that you feel like you should be there but you can't be there because you're at school. Nessa, how would you possibly say that someone could dealing with that mental strain of just saying, I'm physically here, but I can't be there and feeling bad or things of that nature?
Girl, I don't know.
Go back to the beginning.
I'm just saying, so basically, like, I know, for example, when I was in school, I had family that passed away, and I couldn't be there because I had to physically be in school. And for me, that was just like, I'm supposed to be with my family. I'm supposed to be doing this. And I remember my mom saying to me, "You're supposed to be in school, so doing what you're supposed to be doing." I had that mental, kind of breakdown in my own way because I couldn't physically be there. That's why I was just asking, like, what kind of things do you suggest to kind of get through any type of mental hardships or things of that nature?
So in terms of like family passing away, I studied abroad in London 2013 that summer, and my grandmother had passed away. Closest person to me in the whole wide world. I was like, oh Lord, my baby. Didn't know how to kind of deal with that. I had the option to go back home and come back to London and finish my program. But I took it in stride. I decided no. I remember my last time hanging out with her. I remember kissing her, loving her, praying with her, and us smiling. I don't think I'm ready to go back and kind of see that. And I didn't feel bad about not going and not being in that space. So you kind of got to gauge yourself in that space. If somebody else is like, no, that's my mom, I gotta go. I can't not be there. Some people don't go. Some people don't go and they don't beat themselves up for it. So you do again have to kind of gauge yourself on that regard. In terms of like mental stress or like family changing, friends not reaching out or things like that. Honesty is a principle that I'm learning. You have to be honest with yourself and be honest about the relationships that you have. So maybe person A was never really your homegirl in the first place. She was cool with you because y'all was doing the same thing, but you done got on a different foot. She's not really checking for you. And you gotta be honest about that. You can't make people into what they're not. Right? You know what I'm saying? So you have to be, and it grows you up. It matures you in that way. So it goes back to that conversation about going into the community that actually supports you, right? So if it's the librarian, maybe you're gonna hang out with the librarian, right? If it's that favorite professor, because there's some professors that'll stay in the office all afternoon and let you hang out. I hung out with my photography professor. He looked out for me, even when and things got worse for me. So I ended up suffering with like, I think what I now know is bipolar depression. So when I look back at my college experience, I can see all the suffering. I'm like, damn girl, you was going through it. You ain't even know. You know, not being able to like clean up my room or being a bad roommate. I'm not naturally a bad roommate. I'm not naturally a junky person. Like, what is going on? I just didn't have that in me. Right, and I was very closed off. Everything that I experienced, I kept it on the inside. So I would always tell myself, they don't know. I'm super poppin', they don't know, but I didn't even know. Right, so it would take years later before I kind of got that door open to like explore that. And when it comes to like mental health issues, we don't want to say something's wrong with me. Yeah. We don't want to say I'm in pain. We don't want to say I'm going through. It's extraordinarily painful. I'm hearing everybody else's stories, and I'm like, dang, I kind of wish that was me. But you know, we have this thing. We read in the Bible talks about having beauty for your ashes. This is my beauty for my ashes. When I look back over my story and I be like, damn girl, you was suffering, you was suffering, you couldn't get it together, and you just didn't have it. You just didn't have the tools. Some of the things that were available to me, I didn't think I needed. Right? It wasn't until because I took some time off from school. When I went to go do my last semester of school, I had to go through disability service, and I had to get all these types of accommodations. I had to brave that. Right? I had to kind of like accept it and move with it, and it blessed my life in the biggest way. It helped me get my degree at the end of the day. So be open-minded to that kind of stuff, and don't neglect yourself. If you know you're tired, but for some reason you've been tired for 2 weeks now, you got to take a step and be like, okay, why can't I shake out of this slump? And it might just be as simple as going to talk to somebody. A lot of campuses have mental health services, and you can go to this therapist and chat, because so often we don't talk about what we're experiencing. It just keeps happening, stuff keeps happening, and stuff keeps happening, and you think you're navigating it well, but you're probably not. Right? It shows up in different ways. So it might show up in your grades, it might show up in your ability. Some people they can't physically take care of themselves, hygiene issues, and it shows up in a number of different ways. Sometimes I think when we hear, somebody suffering or they have like a mental breakdown, we think about the people on the street that you can see they're battling to themselves. That could have been me.
Sitting right here.
And it's
I got issues.
Like seriously. And so if you do have a relationship with God, if you do have a relationship with Christ, that is the best way I can talk to anybody about overcoming those kinds of things. So if you're sad, if you're angry, sometimes you cry, maybe sometimes you dance, sometimes you sing, sometimes you listen to some sermons. I don't care what you gotta do, but you can hit the mark. You can hit it. You can find that thing to help you get over and get better and agree. Everything ain't gonna be sweet and roses and pretty. You gotta look at the bad, but don't dwell on it. Right, so when you think about, like, you know, when Dana was talking earlier about things I wish I never did, I wish I never smoked weed, I wish I never drank too, and especially because chemically, if there's an imbalance happening to you actually and physically in your body, that stuff is already worse. Emotionally, that stuff spiritually, it agitates you 12 times worse than what you already got going on. So when I look back and feel like, dang, why didn't I know better? Or why couldn't I couldn't help myself. I had no tools, right? But I don't let that break me down too much, because at this point I know how to move now. I know how to navigate now. And so when I finally found myself being able to be a help to college students or potential college students, I told my little cousin, I was like, yo, when you go, it's okay to say no. Remember what you're going to school for. You're going to school to get an education, and don't be shy of growing your relationship with God, right? Because that's what's gonna, like we've talked about, kind of positioning yourself to want to be better, like coming to events like this and things like that. If it's a Bible study, if you start that group, do it. If you decide every morning I'm gonna read, or by noon every day I'm gonna read, or before I go to sleep I'm gonna read a little bit of scripture, do that thing, because God is already working on you. And if you can get an insider on it, do that, because I feel like even though he held me down while I was away at school and I did all that other stuff, if I would have been a little bit more cognizant of his presence or aware that I could connect with him, I would have navigated it differently, because that's how I got through my last semester of school. And depending on what you major in, you'll get a lot of information, a lot of funny style information, but because you're a student, you think, oh, I'm learning something, this is cool, this is the truth, I got this. And I read some stuff in my last semester, I'm like, who wrote this? Why are you trying to mess with people's mind like this? But earlier, I could have just accepted it as what it was and not really challenged it. So don't forget that in that great big world, in that great big space, I don't even care if it's a small community campus, community college, don't forget that your journey is specific. God's plans for you is specific, and the things that you can achieve is specific to you. You might not have a blueprint necessarily. You might not have Jesus always a blueprint. I can always find a little bit of something that I need in his story somewhere, but you might not have nobody else that did it. Then they started the civil rights movement. They didn't have a civil rights movement before they started the civil rights movement. You know, maybe, I don't know. But like, you know what I mean? So don't underestimate the fact that you could be the first, that you might be the only, and don't feel bad. So you don't have to be isolated. Find that community, find that person you can talk to, find that family member, and if that don't work, you always got Jesus.
I know, that's great.
Thank you.
I think what's so interesting that she pointed out is that, dude, it doesn't feel good, and you think you're going to this campus to make so many new friends and meet so many new people, but you're going to be really lonely at some point in time. And that is okay, and it is so normal. You'd rather be lonely than hanging with friends who are really preying on you in the wrong way. And so I just tell you guys, dude, like this lonely thing, it's one of the things that I'm battling with. Me and Nephi were just talking about at the table. I'm building Sprinkle of Jesus. I've been working so hard building Sprinkle of Jesus and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like I'm gonna be one of those people who like 45 years old and then forgot that she had children, that she didn't have kids. Like, you know what I mean? But I feel like you have to remember that you're going to school for a reason. How many of you guys' parents went to college? Well, God has set you guys apart. And when God has set you guys apart, especially from your family, you have to remember, now you no longer have advice. Now you no longer have someone that you can talk to. Now you no longer have someone that understands what you're going through at college. So it's gonna feel a little weird at first. It's gonna be different. You're gonna feel lonely. It's gonna almost feel super tiring. Like, dang, like I need to get out of here. Like I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. Like I used to go home every day. I knew where the store was on the corner. I knew that I could come home to my mom. She would tell me she loves me, and that's not there. So I just want you to know that it's okay to be lonely at first, but it all depends on how you act when you feel really, really sucky, when you feel really bad. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit in your dorm room and cry, or are you going to get motivated? There's two types of people in the world. You're going to either hate, or you're going to get inspired. You're going to get sad, or you're going to get motivated. And you have to be that kind of person who's going to get up, go to class, and say, you know what, I'm here for a good reason. I can't talk to somebody right now,
but I know that I can talk to God, and I know that I can talk to myself. And I know that I'm going to get through this, and I know that I came here for a reason, and I'm going to finish what I did. A lot of people are talking about jobs, and it can almost be a little bit intimidating. She's talking about jobs and getting internships, and you guys are like, I want an internship so bad, but I don't even know where to start. She's great at what she does. She can talk. She's practiced. They say that